excited about this video because a lot of you replied to my request of submitting a word or more. And the feedback was great. So I'm excited to get into it. Now, as some of you may know, I live in the city and it's rarely quiet, so there's usually some type of background noise. It's like 11 p.m. and I have my neighbors outside having like a little get together. So, but I'm gonna do this video anyhow, and I hope that you all really enjoy it. I'm gonna whisper for sure, but I'm also gonna have a little soft speaking as well. So a mixture, okay? Now, some of these words, I may have to double check the pronunciation and also double check the meaning, and then I can give my thoughts on it, okay? Now, since there's so many words, I'll try not to spend too much time on each one. Alright, so I hope that you can feel the tingles, and I hope that you have good relaxation and even sleep. And I guess in a way you'll learn more about me based on my responses to some of these words. Alright, let's get into it. Oh, and I'll also be doing, where is it? I'll also occasionally my thumbs always snap. You know, sometimes I'll have a little bit of this so that you can, just have something else in this video as well. Alright, y'all ready? Alright, let's go. The first word is popcorn. 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 I love popcorn. And I think my favorite popcorn is kettle corn, which is like semi-sweet, semi-salty, I think. Isn't that what kettle corn is? Kettle corn is like sweet and salty, right? And my favorite brand of popcorn is it's this organic brand that comes in a red bag. I can't remember the name of it, but they have different flavors, and their kettle corn is so good, slightly sweet. I also love caramel popcorn, but I don't eat that one as much because it's so sweet and it gets stuck in my teeth, and I hate that. So I also like the traditional movie theater popcorn, but not the type that you buy at a store. It never tastes the same. But the popcorn at a movie theater, it tastes so good. I love it so much. And of course I haven't been in the theater in so long, but yeah, popcorn. Alright, give me a second. I've seen this word before, and I think it has something to do with fish, but I need to double check. So let's see. I might just leave these in for when I gotta check. So let me look this word up. Looking this word up now. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I love fish. I think fish are beautiful. There's so many different types. And ironically, I never had like a pet fish, like a goldfish or anything. But when I think about goldfish, particularly, I think about that episode of The Cosby Show when Rudy had her fish who died, and they had a funeral for the fish, and the entire family got dressed up, and they flushed it down the toilet, and it was like a thing. So, but I think at the end, Rudy was like, "I'm over it now," or something like that, So, and then of course, when I think about fish, I just think about the water and the sea. If I could be any animal, I wouldn't choose to be a fish though. Yeah, I don't think I would want to spend all my time in the water like that. But I've seen some beautiful fish. Oh, one more thing I think about when I think of fishes or fish. I remember one of my best friends from back in elementary school. He had these type of fish that would eat other fish. Like they had these big fins, these big fins, and they would like eat the smaller fish. And I was like, dang, they so mean. But I guess that was their nature. The circle of life, right? So, Ichthyology. Let's go to the next word. So the next word is going to be super. The first thing that comes to my mind when I just said super, it makes me think of like old-timey New York and the plumber or the person who like was part of the landlord's team or something. Or is the super the landlord? Is that another term for landlord? I can't remember. But I think of that. When I think about super, I think about greatness, Of course, Superman, which was, Superman wasn't one of my favorite heroes, but I did enjoy the movies with Christopher Reeves, who will always be my Superman. I know there's many who came after him, but when I think of Superman, I think of Christopher Reeves. Rest in peace. Super. Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Alright, let's keep going. The next word is... It's so crazy. Every time I do a video, it's like my face starts itching and anyways, it's like my body is like, okay, it's time to be on camera. Alright. Grateful. So when I think of grateful, I think of how I'm just so thankful. It's another way of me being thankful. And usually my mind first goes to being alive. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be in this moment, whispering to each of you, to people I know, to people I don't know. And depending on how long this channel is up and, if it's ever archived in some way, this could go years from now, maybe even past my life. And that seems kind of cool. So I'm grateful to put art out into the universe. I'm grateful to have what sometimes we can take for advantage, take for granted. Like for real, like I'm grateful to have a place to sleep and have food to eat and clothes to wear. Like for real. And I'm grateful for my family and my friends. And yeah, I'm even grateful for like challenges. because they do help me to be appreciative and to be strengthened and to grow and evolve. So gratefulness, which is an extension, or what is it, the adverb or the verb, or grateful, whatever. I might have that wrong, but it's something that I try to practice, you know. I mean, it comes to me naturally, but I do practice it because I'm grateful. I really am. So, especially when I feel overwhelmed, I gotta remind myself. Okay, I don't think I can talk this long for each of these words, or we're gonna be here like forever. Alright, I'm gonna try to speed it up. Well, I'm gonna try to talk. I'm not gonna try to talk as long. Bubbles. 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 When I think of bubbles, I think of the old school bubbles, you know? The old school bubbles where you like dip the little stick into the solution and then you blow the bubbles out. I used to love doing that. And I also used to have like 2 long sticks with like a big long string attached to the end of each stick, and you dip that in a bucket of solution, and then you make these big bubbles. Anytime I say that's when I'm cussing. These big bubbles, and you can make them really long. I used to love those bubbles. Sarah. Sarah. Sarah, as in the name Sarah. Interestingly, my mind first goes to the Bible. And I think about a Sarah, a character from the Bible. I also knew a Sarah in high school, but I don't think I know a Sarah right now. Like, I don't think there's a Sarah in my life, like an active Sarah. Oh, well, there is a Sarah that goes to my dad's church. So, and she's such a nice lady. I haven't seen her in a long time, but yeah, Sarah. Tingles. 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 When I think about tingles, I think about euphoria. I think about ASMR. I think about that feeling that engulfs my body, like from head to toe, like literally. I can feel the tingles like over every inch of my body, and it's amazing. Oh my gosh, I love that feeling so much. And I think I've mentioned this before in another video, how there are so many pleasurable sensations we can have, you know, from taste to touch to excitement to orgasm to all types of things. And the tingles is just like another heightened state of pleasure, and in the most like pure and wonderful way. And I know there's some people who have not experienced tingles, and I wish they could. If there's something that I could do to help everyone get the tingles, I would. But maybe this is helping y'all get the tingles now. Are you tingled? Can you feel it? I'm still taking a long time on these words. What time is it? Okay, well, let's get going. Solitude. 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 I need solitude. When I think about solitude, I think about getting away, taking time to myself, and not just from people, but sometimes from things, like turning off the phone, closing the laptop, and pulling the attention into my mind, into my body, and just being away from different types of frequencies and energy, you know? Solitude, I think, is a beautiful thing. when it's used in a healthy way. But I also think about solitude, like in prisons, where they put people in a solitude and they keep them away from others and light and all of that. And I think that's a form of torture. And I don't agree with that type of solitude. In a general sense, I can see the damaging effects of it. But in a healthy sense, I love solitude. Travel. 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 I want to travel more. I really do, y'all. And I have the job that I can. I'm a vocal coach and a cinematographer. And as for vocal coaching, like 100% of my clients are online and they're all over the world in the country. So I can travel more and I want to do that, and I need to stop saying I want to and just do it. I'm going to travel more, and I have been a little bit this year until COVID hit. But yeah, I want to travel the world. And I know that sounds cliche, but I do. And I want to see other parts of this country too. I want to travel to create more experiences and memories and see friends and make new friends. I think to travel is such a privilege and a pleasure, and I want to experience it more. I want to see more. I want to travel. Loneliness. 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 Loneliness is so real. You know, it's definitely something that I felt and feel. And even though I'm an introvert, loneliness, the way that I interpret it, is something where you want to connect with others. It's not something that can be eradicated with things or inanimate objects, at least not for me. Well, those things can help temporarily, but when I feel lonely, it is a direct result, and it is a direct result of wanting to be around others in some way, whether that's familial or platonic or romantic. It's wanting to talk to someone, be with someone, be intimate, just to be connected, to be plugged in to people. But it's also loneliness. It's also a reminder that in that state I don't feel understood. I don't feel seen. I don't feel appreciated, you know. And I also know that sometimes I can cause loneliness because maybe there's something that a pattern of thinking or a way of expressing or a way of withholding that causes me to be distant to others for whatever reason, and I create the loneliness. But anyways, at the core of it, loneliness is something that I have felt many times, and while it does teach me to appreciate being around others, it's not a good feeling. Loneliness, I think that's a dog, sorry. Loneliness is not a good feeling. And so, yeah, it's a real thing. Loneliness. Cats. 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 I might be in the minority, but then I'm not in the minority, because there's a lot of people who would feel this way too. I love cats. When I think of cats, I think of how clever they are and how agile they are, and even how human-like and sneaky they can be, you know. Also think about how Cats, I believe, is the longest, or was the longest running Broadway play before it stopped, I think. You know, I remember my mom wanted to go see Cats, and I think she did. I don't think my dad wanted to, but I think he went with her. I also think of my Eek, and oh my gosh, my mind has been blank. Oh my goodness, my gotta do this. Hold on. I gotta do this. King. My and King. I call them my nephew cats. One of my best friends. Those are his two cats, and they are so beautiful. One is a red Abyssinian, and the other is like a Russian blue mixed with something else. I love cats. Javi. When I think of Javi, I think of one of my clients who I haven't seen in a while, but he's a singer and a guitar player, and his name is Javi. Cool guy. Entanglement. Of course, I think of Jada and August and Will and many other people. And I think of the situation where you're involved with someone, and in your eyes, it may not be something that is permanent, but it's something that you enjoy for the time. Yeah, entanglement. Luminescence. When I think of luminescence, I think of Lightroom. Lightroom is an app where you can edit pictures, and it has a luminance control that kind of like brings illumination or brightness to a picture. And I think of beauty when I think of luminance. Safe. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of safe is this song called Safe in His Arms. I haven't heard that in a while. When I think of safe, I also think of protection. Being protected from things that could be harmful. But I also think of how there's so many people out there who are not safe. Either because they're not protected, or they're not conducting themselves in ways that are safe. And I think of safety and how we all need safety. I'm gonna be checking the time every once in a while. Okay. Accreditation. The first thing that comes to my mind with accreditation is colleges. I remember when I was applying to colleges, and I was always told you make sure that they're accredited. And the schools that I went to were accredited. I have a bachelor's degree and I have a master's degree. Accreditation. Sticky. When I think of sticky, I think of gum. I don't know why gum is just coming to my mind. I also think of this action. Like something in between the fingers that is sticky. You know? Cheese. I think of cheese. For whatever reason. Semen crosses my mind as well. Gum. I said gum already, but that keeps coming to my mind. I hate when something sticky is so hard to like get off of an object or like your clothes. You know what I mean? When I think of sticky, sometimes I can think of unwanted, like, or sometimes I think of sticky, I think of wanted, like sticky tape. And how there's some tape in the other room, and it is not sticky enough. It's like this cheap tape. This tape. needs more stickiness. All right, let's get going. Abundance. 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 When I hear the term abundance, I think of the theology, like theological terms and biblical terms, and live life in abundance and overflow. But taking out the religious aspect, I think of money. I think of having your needs met, and then being able to give to others with that abundance, not wanting for anything, and just being able to like you're good, you know, there's no lack because you have abundance. And it's something that I desire more of in my life and in your life. Hold on. Let me see what this word is. I want to make sure I say it right. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. I didn't know this. Hold on. These thumbs, dang. Okay. Didgeridoo. 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 I've heard the term didgeridoo before, but I wasn't too sure. And didgeridoo is a musical instrument of Australian Aborigines made from a long wooden tube that is blown into to create a low drone. I would love to have a didgeridoo because I love instruments, and the very first instrument I ever played was a recorder, which is like a long tube that you blow into. And then the next instrument I learned to play that ended up being my favorite instrument for years was a clarinet. Another instrument that you blow into, and a clarinet can either be plastic or wooden. And I had both. I had a plastic one and a wooden one. But I never had a didgeridoo. And I say that with respect. I know sometimes when we think about items of other cultures, we can kind of sensationalize it or kind of speak of it or treat it without the sacred background of it. And being that this is a musical instrument of Australian Aborigines, and we know the history of what has happened to Aborigines in different places like Australia back then, I say that with respect. I'm not saying I would want one just to have it and be like, oh, a little old thing, but I would respect its history, you know? Alright. Pompous. 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 When I think of pompous, oh gosh, you know what I just thought? This is such a long video, and I'm probably not going to like do a lot of edits. And I wonder if that bark that we heard earlier, if it's gonna bother you or not. I hope not, because I'm probably just gonna, when I finish this video, I'm just gonna throw some color on it and then upload it and just let it be what it is. So if that's in there, I hope it didn't bother y'all. But let's get back to it. Pompous. 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 The first thing I think of is a word to follow pompous, and that's whole. I think of the character, and I think of people who think so highly of themselves that they look down on others. They have a stank attitude. And by stank attitude meaning that they consider their way of thinking and therefore their actions to have greater value than many other people happiness. Happiness. It's something that I want more of, you know, for me, for you. And just to be happy it's such a great thing, you know. And I've learned that happiness is not directly tied to objects. But I feel like I'm most happy and I'm in a state of happiness when like my relationships are good. I don't have any drama. I don't have any I don't have any like pain or difficult interactions, you know. Everything is just like smooth. I'm also happy when my bills are paid. So happiness. And it's something that I want from all of us, you know. It's definitely a state of mind though. At least that's the core of it. And from that, things can be birthed out of happiness that are material, you know. But you can just be sitting in a room by yourself with nothing and just be happy because your thoughts are creating that sense within you. So there must be something that you're connecting with, that you're thinking about, that's making you happy. And it could be a relationship, it could be money, it could be anything, but it's an emotion. It can be produced with your thoughts, and it transcends any physical state. You know, happiness is for everybody. It can be for everybody. Not everybody has it, but it can be. It doesn't have to be reserved just for a group of people. Happiness is something that it can and it should, and I wish it was, experienced by everyone. Happiness. Supine. 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 I love this word because I always get it confused. Like when I'm in the gym and I'm thinking of a supine grip, I can never remember if it's this way or if it's this way. And even right now, I can't remember if supine is this way or this way. But I just remember like having a supine grip when I was doing certain exercises like pull-ups. And I think you can be in a supine position by like laying down. You know what I mean? Supine. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. Wait, I guess let me blow this up. Serendipity. 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 I forgot what this means. Hold on. I think of a word that I can't remember. The occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. A fortunate stroke of serendipity. A series of small serendipities. Oh man, I love a good ass serendipity. I would love some more serendipities. What's the last serendipity I had? I remember one time I received a check in the mail and I was like, where did this come from? And I can't remember where it came from. Would that be a serendipity event? Or when you meet someone by chance, like maybe you go to the gym at a different time or take a different route somewhere and you meet someone and it's a nice occurrence. Alright. Relax. 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 Relax is something that another thing that I wish for myself and for everyone okay, this is weird. I think about relaxation and how, like, I want to relax and feel rested, but I also think about how sometimes when somebody might be in an argument or like a debate or some type of confrontation, and the other person's like, man, just relax, but they're doing it like a patronizing way. It's the same thing like when people are like in a heated exchange and someone says, man, just calm down, but they're doing it like, ooh, nobody calms down when you're in that moment and nobody relaxes. But I love the state of relaxation, and I think that we need to relax more in general so that we can de-stress. So Frisk. When I think of Frisk, I think of touching. Like, I think of hands on the body in a seductive and sensual way. Oh, now I just thought also about being frisked, like from law enforcement, which could be scary. Yeah. And I think of a cat. I don't know why. A frisky cat. Oh, I just thought of that old cartoon where the skunk was always trying to get after the male skunk was always trying to get after that female skunk. And I forgot his name. Anyways, Frisk. Pistachio. I think of pistachios literally and how tasty they are. How you can put it in your mouth and suck on it and suck the salt off of it. And if you're skilled like me, you can keep it in your mouth and use your tongue and teeth to crack the shell and then get the nut out. I think about how I can eat tons of pistachios, like tons of pistachios in a row. I also think of my nephew, may he rest in peace. He used to eat a lot of pistachios as well. I also think of a healthy nut. I guess they can be healthy. They might be high in a certain type of fat, but I think overall pistachios are healthy. So, pistachio. Jupiter. When I think of Jupiter, I think of a planet. I think of a large spherical planet, a large sphere. I think of rings around it. I think of astrology when I think of Jupiter. Cake. When I think of cake, I think of my Aunt Cindy, who makes this delicious yellow cake and I think white icing, and I loved it. I've always loved it. It's so good. And she used to make that like when I was a little boy, and she still makes it now. When I think of cake, I also think of glutes, I think of buttocks, I think of ass. And I think how cake, I think of anime, eat the cake anime. And I think we all should eat cake. Iridescent. I forgot what this word means. Hold on. Iridescent. Okay. It's showing luminous colors that seem to change when seen from different angles. Ooh, yeah. That's beautiful. Iridescent. So when I think of that, I think of bubbles. I think of some people who have, it's their natural eye color, but when the light hits it a different way, their eye color seems to change a little bit. I think of beauty. So it's kind of related to luminance. Iridescence. Iridescent. Manifestation. 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 So when I think of manifestation, I think of the actualization, the realization of something, the fruition of something. Is another term that I associate with theology. It's a term that I associate with appearance. It's something that I want for myself and for you and for everyone, that we manifest goals and desires and dreams that will be for our good and for the good of humankind and for the good of all kind, animals included. Like just something that is for the betterment of life affirming manifestation. Something that gives us a sense of being in the moment, purpose, and having mileage on it, meaning that it's something that will affect others for times to come. Manifestation. Ocean. 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 When I think of an ocean, I think of vastness. I think of salt water. I think of that time when I was 8 years old and my dad took me to the beach and we were out in the ocean and he was holding on to me, but a big wave hit and it hit so strong that he lost his grip on my arm and I went under and I panicked so bad. But the fact of the matter is, it just knocked me off my feet. And when he stood me up, the water wasn't even like over my head. But in that moment, I was terrified. I also think about how being lost in the ocean or lost at sea has to be so scary. I remember there was a story back in like 2010 or maybe earlier or somewhere near there, or 2005 or something, of these football players who went out into the ocean and they got lost at sea, and it was 4 of them and 3 of them died and only 1 survived, and there was controversy over how you survived this and stuff. But anyways, and I think of Jaws. Alright, let's take it back to the good part. I think of like almost like eternity. Like if you look out into an ocean, it just keeps going and going. It's beautiful. The ocean is beautiful. Grass. 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 When I think of grass, I think of green. I think of grass-fed meat. I think of vegetables. I think of healthiness. I think of vibrance. I think of protein. I think of power. I think of clarity of mind. I think of red ants. I remember the first day of track practice in college. We were in the grass stretching, and the next thing I know, my legs were on fire. Why? Because an army of red ants attacked me. They tore my legs up. Oh my gosh. I also think of itchiness. Grass can feel itchy. And I think of bare feet in the grass. Love. 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 This is loaded. And I could go on and on with this one, but I think of the spirit of life is expressed and connected to, is expressed through and connected to love. I feel like love is the purpose and the reason we exist, or it's a reason to exist. I think love is the epitome of communication, the epitome of happiness, the epitome of togetherness, the epitome of the human experience, the epitome of experience towards non-humans like animals and just in general. I think love can be the cure, and love can be the source of all greatness, and it can help us to live. I think love is the pulse of life. It's the heartbeat of life, and this is all forms of love. And I'm only speaking of love that is experienced and expressed in ways that are life affirming. There are many things that people think, say, and do in the name of love, but it hurts others. And some of those things, I wouldn't call it love. But then you could also think about like a parent who is doing something out of love for their child because the child doesn't understand the severity or the heaviness of the situation, and they are hurt by the experience, but that's because they haven't been able to register how that form of love is actually helping them. Love is so complex, it's so deep, it is so layered, and I want more of it in every way. Love. I wonder for you too. Ghost. 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 When I think about Ghost, I think about Whoopi Goldberg. I think about Patrick Swayze. I think about oh my gosh, what was the female lead? Sorry y'all, you can put it in the comment section. Demi Moore. It was such a great movie, and Whoopi Goldberg was so awesome in that movie. All three of them were. I also think of the paranormal. I think of potentially afterlife, if it exists. I think of spirits. I think of Casper. I think of potentially loneliness if there are ghosts who are stuck in between dimensions or who are just roaming or whatever. I think of the Hollywood sense of ghosts. I think of the biblical sense of ghosts, and I think of the just out of any type of thought, out of mind aspect of ghosts, or deep mind, or how should I say it? I think of the imagination of ghosts and how we could think of ghosts in a way that hasn't been documented. Like everyone could describe ghosts in a different way, I guess. Yeah. Ghost. Rejuvenate. 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 When I think of rejuvenate, I think of, being rejuvenated, meaning being refreshed. It's the state that comes after being tired or being worn down. So it's like recuperating, So in order to be rejuvenated, you had to be in a state that required it. So you must have been tired. You must have been overwhelmed. Something of that nature. Oh, wait. Okay. I'm just looking at the time and how long this is, because make sure my card doesn't run out. But yeah, rejuvenation, I think of being refreshed and being ready to go. Again, a cycle. Systematic. 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 When I think of systematic, I think of what is the difference between systematic and systemic exactly. So I have to look that up. But I think of the methodology of things. I think of systems that are in place that are designed for a certain result. I think of people who operate within these systems. People who want these systems to continue, and then people who don't want these systems to continue. And yes, I think of racism as a systemic operation or system, you know? And I think how that needs to be torn down and destroyed. Water. 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 I think of the flow. I think of power. I think of movement. I think of wetness. I think of wet. I think of the quenching of thirst. I think of Evian, which is my favorite water. I think, just like love, I think of something that is, well, 70% of our body, they say. And I think of something that we need more of. Water. I love water and what it represents. It's so powerful. I think of The Abyss. Do y'all remember a movie called The Abyss from back in the day? Where, like, the spirits or the ghosts or whatever they were, like, could shape themselves through water. Alright, I need to pick up the pace because it makes sure this. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and for real, I'm gonna pick up the pace for real. Okay, there we go. Pickles. 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 I love sweet pickles. I love sweet pickles. I do not like sour pickles. I also think of The Sandlot and how they got themselves into a pickle, meaning they got themselves into a tough situation. I love sweet pickles, but I'm not a big pickle fan per se, you know. I do like the sound of crunching into a pickle though. Wealth. 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 When I think of wealth, I think of not just money, but resources and an opportunity to help others with that wealth. I think of my bills being paid. I think of it leading to traveling. I think of wealth as a segue into creating more experiences. I think wealth is a state of mind, but there has to be that manifestation, at least for me, meaning wealth is like action, or wealth leads to action. And it doesn't have to be excessive to where you're a tyrant, but yeah, wealth. Travel, already did travel, guys. Vaughn. 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 Now this is spelled different. This is V-O-N, but when I hear Vaughn, I think of Sarah Vaughan, who was an amazing vocalist, an amazing singer. I think of Vaughn as the name. For some reason, I want to say Vin, because I'm thinking of Vin Diesel. But he's Vaughn. I mean, he's Vin, not Vaughn Diesel. Vaughn, Vaughn, Vaughn. Sensational. 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 I think of something that is miraculous, remarkable, and that grabs your attention. It's something that you could hear, something that you could see, something that you could touch. It could be any of those things, something that you can taste. It's an experience that just really mesmerizes you and makes you feel alive, makes you feel amazing. I think of Whitney Houston's voice as sensational. Success. 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 When I think of success, I think of something that many of us desire. Now, I do think success is subjective. What is successful for one person can be different to the next person, that it's an individual thing. I think of how also the drive for success and what is deemed success for mainstream can be so limiting, and it can push people to beyond their boundaries and push them into places that really hurts themselves and hurts people around them. But in a positive way, I think about success as being the result of work and privilege and opportunity. You know, it's something that I want more of for myself and for you. Success. The first thing that comes to my mind, I think of mama. You sure look good tonight. You sure look good tonight. What y'all know about that Johnny Gill? My. Sleep. Oh, I think of how it can feel so amazing. I love sleep, y'all. Oh, I love me some sleep, yes. I also think how sleep can lead to dreams, which can be amazing or terrifying. I think of how I need more sleep. I think of how after I finish this, I'm going to sleep. I hope that you all are experiencing sleep. I think of rejuvenation. I think of restoration. I think of recharging. We need sleep. I am not a fan of team no sleep. I know a lot of people push that, especially, this time frame, like you just gotta grind and work and never sleep and just go after your goals. Nah, I think we need rest and we need sleep. You gotta have balance. Okay. We're almost there. Yellow. I think of the color yellow. I think of yellow jackets, like yellow bees. I think of this music video that I shot some years ago, and I had on this striped shirt, and it was yellow and white, and I was looking good. I think I look good in yellow. I think of the sun, which is not necessarily yellow, but I think of, like, as a kid, we would use a yellow crayon for the sun. I think of purity. I think of lemon drops. I think of a warm feel. Yellow. Beach. Now, if y'all have been following me and listening to certain narratives in my videos, okay, good, then you would understand when I say I think of nudity. I think of nude beaches. I think of shells. I think of crowdedness. I think of how people are at beaches now. To each their own. I just hope that they're safe. I think of draws. I think of laying out. I think of suns out, buns out. Beach. I think of the boardwalk. I think of Ocean City. I think of boardwalk fries. I think of the sound of the ocean, the fresh smell of the ocean from the beach. I think of the sand. I think of sex on the beach. I think of romance. I think of being up at nighttime. The stars are out, the moon is out, and there's a big soft bed, and I'm standing at an open window, and there's like these sheer curtains and big open doors, and I can walk out onto a balcony, and there's the beach at nighttime with the sound of the waves and the beautiful moonlight shining down. And I think of being wrapped up with someone. Beach. I also think of a bucket. I think of kids. I think of kids burying their parents Maya Angelou in A Phenomenal Woman, or is it A Phenomenal Black Woman? But I think of that. I think of something that is just, that grabs your attention. It's so phenomenal. I haven't even really been using this, y'all. It's so phenomenal, and it's so otherworldly, and it's so desirable and worthy of attention, as I already said. Phenomenal. Meditation. 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 When I think of meditation, I think of Tantra. When I think of meditation, I think of peace. When I think of meditation, I think of centeredness. When I think of meditation, I think of groundness. When I think of meditation, I think of nudity, and not in a sexual way, but in a way of connecting with groundness, a way of meditating and being bare, being vulnerable, being exposed. I think of power. I think of Bruce Lee. I think of centeredness. I think I already said that. Meditation, I think of something, it's something that we all need. I think it's meditation as a way to survive. I think of meditation as a way to slow the mind up, but to elevate the mind, to vibrate higher. Meditation. Babe. My fault. Babe. 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 I think of love. I think of romance. I think of sex. I think of cuddling. I think of arguing. I think of desire. I think of connection. I think of intimacy. Bae. I think of how it's not played out yet. That term, at least. Because you know terms get played out. But I think bae gonna be around for a minute. Music. 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 Like love and like water, I think of something that is universal, something that heals. I think of something that is so powerful that it can move you, and it can heighten your emotions, it can dampen your emotions, it can inspire you, it can protect you, it can uplift you, it can depress you, it is like the ultimate barometer of emotions. I think of magic when I think of music. I think of Michael Jackson. I think of Whitney Houston. I think of Luther Vandross. I think of myself. I think of some of you who sing, who play instruments. I think of something that is infectious, something that is eternal, something that's so beautiful. Music is beautiful. I know you can hear those people outside. So sorry, we're gonna keep going. Okay, yep, and there's that door. But let's keep it going. Forgive me, y'all. The city life. Eloquence. 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 I think of Aurora Monroe. I think of Toll. I think of Iman. I think of models. I think of a vase or a vase. I think of a beautiful flower. I think of perfume. I think of eloquence. I think of speech. I think of communication when I think of eloquence. I think it's a beautiful trait to have. I think of how there are many people who don't have it. And there are many people who do. Is. I think of it as a connector to another sentence. Or another word. Coconut. 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 I think of big, big coconuts. I think of brown. I think of furry. I think of cracking open. I think of sipping, tasting. I think of coconut water. I think of how I don't like certain coconut foods. I think of coconut macaroons, yes. I think of coconut cake, no. I think of coconut milk, coconut candy. I think of white, the color white. I think of oil pulling with coconut oil. Cambrian. Hold on, I gotta check this one out. So the Cambrian period was the first geological period of the Paleozoic era and the Phanerozoic eon. The Cambrian lasted 55.6 million years from the end of the preceding Ichthyology period. I'm saying these wrong, probably 541 million years ago at the beginning of the Ordovician period. Subdivisions in its base are somewhat in flux. Okay. It produced the most intense evolution ever known. The Cambrian explosion saw an incredible diversity of life emerge, including many major animal groups alive today. I do remember this. Among them were the Cherodates, to which vertebrates, animals with backbones such as humans belong. Yes. Come on, Cambrian. Alright. I know I'm going a little bit faster because I gotta get ready to go. 4 more and then we're done. Pencils. I think of how much I love the sound of pencils writing. I think of how I love a good sharpened pencil. I love the movement of a pencil across paper. I think of mechanical pencils and how I don't like those as much. You know, I think of a good eraser on a pencil. I think of a number 2 pencil that can be used to place underneath your tongue to free tongue tension for singing. I think of colored pencils and I used to love my packs of colored pencils when I was young because I used to love coloring. And even now, I love pencils. Colored pencils as well. Voluptuous. I think of thick thighs and curvaceous hips and full breasts. I think of Jessica from Roger Rabbit. I think of a Coke bottle. I think of different degrees of voluptuous. I think of body positivity. I think of image. I think of something that I'm not going to mention because that might be too far, but maybe I can say it this way. I think of a particular I don't know, I probably shouldn't. I'm just thinking of stuff just comes to my mind. I think of when I was younger and I was first exposed to a form of adult entertainment, and there was this scene of 2 people. I'll just say it like that, just a scene of 2 people, and one was very voluptuous. Okay, she was very voluptuous, and they had a form of intercourse, but not intercourse. Probably should not have went there, but it makes me think of voluptuous because her bosoms were very voluptuous and they were the center of attention for a part of his anatomy, which was placed in her voluptuous area. Ducks. When I think about ducks, I think of quack, 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 quack. I think of Donald Duck. I think of that one movie of the duck, Howard the Duck, which always used to kind of gross me out a little bit because he was like kissing, and I was like, it's a duck, though. It just looked weird. It just kind of like, I don't know. I know people thought he was cute or whatever, but I wasn't feeling it like that. Also think of the Mighty Ducks, great movie franchise. I think of Darkwing Duck, a great theme song. also think about the first time I saw some male ducks, like a gang of male ducks, attack this female duck, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't know if they were like raping her or terrorizing her or trying to kill her. As a kid, that with me, it did not feel good at all. Like, I wanted to help the female duck. Like, it was so scary. And I think I remember looking it up, like what that meant. And I think it meant exactly what I was hoping it did not. It was scary. Alright, I got 8 minutes. I gotta hurry up. Ducks. Oh, I'm at the last one. Skeptical. Ducks are great. Skeptical. 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 I think of skepticism. I think of doubt. I think of logic being used to help to erase skepticism. I think of religion. I think of faith. I think of theology. I think of the challenge of religion, the challenge of faith, the challenge of theology. I think of that phase when I think of skepticism or skeptical. I think of that phase. I think of uncertainty. I think of a healthy concept to embrace, because skepticism can save us in some ways. It can help us to deduce. It can help us to research. It can help us to use logic as necessary. It can help us to stay balanced. I think a healthy dose of skepticism can be awesome. I think overindulging in skepticism can hold us back depending on the situation. So, skeptical. Alright, y'all. That's it. Alright, I got 7 minutes, so this is what I'm gonna do. Y'all ready for this? Here's the finale. I'll do it in a whisper. Here we go. And I might mess up these words. Popcorn, Ichthyology, super, grateful, bubbles, Sarah, Tingles, solitude, travel, loneliness, cats, Javi, entanglement, luminescence, safe, accreditation, sticky, abundance, Didgeridoo, no wait, Didgeridoo, oh I forgot, Pompous, happiness, supine, serendipity, relax, Frisk, pistachio, Jupiter, cake, Iridescent, manifestation, ocean, grass, love, ghost, rejuvenate, systematic, water, pickles, wealth, travel, fawn, sensational, success, my, sleep, yellow, beach, phenomenal, meditation, bay, music, eloquence, is, coconut, Cambrian, pencils, voluptuous, ducks, skeptical. Good night, y'all. I hope y'all know I'm recording a video. They actually don't. Good night, y'all. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video. This was a lot of fun.